6 feet under, 3 towns over. The kids spent the rest of the afternoon combing through dusty piles of old county records, desperately searching for anything that could help them make sense of Mr. Tolliver's cryptic utterance. Luca tried to shake the thought of Gran's basement, but his focus wavered. Explosives, messages hidden in jam, dossiers on various town figures, and a corkboard threaded with photos. Gran was the only family he had left. He still couldn't bring himself to believe the worst. But the old map with the symbol of explosives in town square made that difficult.
Gran isn't exploding, people.
As the sun began to set, the kids were no closer to the truth. Rollo shut his book with an assertive nod.
Yeah, keep pushing your luck, pal.
Rollo muttered under his breath.
His comebacks are about, those are my comebacks.
Beck slammed her finger down on the open page before glancing down to read.
Waking up for the day at like, what, 3 p.m.?
Something tickled the back of Luca's mind.
Book is about Gran?
The question hung.
Gran is dead? You always work night shift? Pretty sure last time I talked to you, you were working nights, but...
Beck rubbed her eyes.
Also, 7 p.m. is like my bedtime. Been getting off the last 2 nights streaming at 7 because I've been so tired.
Luca's heart was pounding as he approached the house. If he was lucky, Gran, or whoever it was, hadn't gotten back yet. And of course, there was Mr. Tolliver tied up and unconscious in the basement.
Who's Gran if Gran isn't Gran?
Dealing with him would be the first order of business. Luca shook out his arms to calm his nerves before entering.
Oh, my cat farted. Thinky. Thank you, kitty.
He held perfectly still, tempering his breath, and listened closely. She was asleep.
Sleep.
His only hope was that she hadn't found Mr. Tolliver before dozing off.
Is an ad starting in 3 minutes? Just... sorry, what am I doing? Clicking on Oliver in the... Surely we didn't leave that open the whole time, right?
Mr. Tolliver was nowhere to be seen.
Uh-oh.
Or maybe Gran knew everything. Luca's hungry stomach groaned. Not realizing it, he'd gone the entire day without eating. Luca rushed over to the pile of jam jars, unscrewed one, and shoveled a handful into his mouth. He flipped the lid to read the label.
Yeah, we can eat Mr. Nuncreed's jam. He's working for the bad people. Time to go to sleep. Oh, our Grand's gone. Well, isn't Grand's bed also our bed?
As Luca climbed the final stair, the emotion of the day dragged heavily on him. With each consecutive step, his legs weakened. His stride began to falter. He tried to grab for the railing to steady himself. Something was wrong.
Are we drugged?
Luca groaned and tried to move.
Everybody's bedtimes, and then you get less stupid people at your work? Well, I certainly am in bed by 7 p.m. most nights.
His limbs might as well have been bolted to the ground.
Don't you worry.
Through numb lips, he mumbled just before falling asleep.
Oh, it was the jam, right? But the jam was meant for Mr. Nuncreed. Must be extra. Ad break in 30 seconds. Oh, Grand. Grand's handling everything.
Chapter 9. A speech to end all speeches. Luca awoke to find himself face down in bed. He moaned into his pillow. Why would Gran drug him? Or rather, why was she trying to drug Mr. Nuncreed? Shaking the questions from his woozy head, Luca snapped back to the matter at hand.
Buddy's got signed. Nice. You still? You still do the paintballing? The balling of the paint? Ew, new charm, new charm. Well, if it's gonna explode, do we want to be there? Well, Mr. Tolliver did say that we weren't
Augustus
blowing
Valentine
anything up,
nervously
so.
wiped his brow.
Oh my gosh, I can't. I cannot stand his voice.
Gus cleared his throat and awkwardly loosened his tie. William Kerr bounded on the stage with the energy of a preacher at a big tent revival.
Gus. Oh. This is your goat?
He gave Gus a hearty slap on the back and motioned him off the stage.
Why? Why Gus? Out of everybody, do you see all the little cuties that are in here?
Mr. Kerr pulled a thick stack of note cards out from his vest.
What about Mr. Kerr? He seems he would be right up your alley. Dawn is still my favorite. Little cutie bat. Hey look, the bunny mom has some bunny children with her today.
Mr. Kerr took a moment to survey the crowd. He wiped away a single tear.
I wish she would be done talking.
He thumped the podium to emphasize each word.
Last time I was with Alec and James. That seems fun.
Mr. Kerr nodded confidently, biting his lip. The crowd was silent, in rapt attention. Mr. Kerr methodically made eye contact with each section of the crowd. His voice began to build to a crescendo.
He really talks a lot.
The crowd began to look around nervously. Mr. Kerr quickly flicked through his note cards. He raised his hands up to the heavens.
Our harvest awaits. Frozen again? Gosh dang it.
At that moment, a merciless wall of impossibly cold air ripped through the crowd, instantly freezing everyone and everything it touched. For a man like William Kerr, this was a fitting way for things to end.
This is twice now.
On a stage, with an entire town frozen in rapt attention for the rest of time. The end.
Alright, where are we going back to this time?
There's that ice again! Whenever I think we're getting close, it comes along and ruins everything! Maybe we should just quit? Maybe you should just close the book, walk away, and never think of me again. No, I don't mean that. We got a little closer this time. We just need to try again, please.
Okay, so we have another option there. We're just gonna continue this one. Well, it's either Chill Cop or Sly Cop. What do we think? Chill or Sly? Chill or Sly? Hard Cop led us on a bad path. think I'm gonna go chill, right? Alright, well, if it's
They'd
wrong,
run the classic
we'll die
good
again and
cop,
then start over.
chill cop interrogation. Luca walked calmly to the light switch, flicking it off and on a few times. Mr. Tolliver shook his head, gathering his wits. He looked over to find Luca, who returned a calming grin. Rollo and Beck emerged from hiding to give a timid wave.
Okay, we're doing it nice way this time.
Luca glanced over to Rollo and Beck, who replied with skeptical looks. Mr. Tolliver exhaled with disappointment.
I think these are the good guys, right?
Luca gestured to the corner. Luca looked again to Rollo and Beck. This time they shrugged. Luca began to slowly loosen the bindings. Mr. Tolliver gently rubbed his wrists. He edged imperceptibly toward the stairs as he spoke.
I'm gonna lock us in here.
Before the kids had even noticed his movement, Mr. Tolliver was at the light switch. He punctuated his final words by flicking the switch and rushing up the stairs.
We were bamboozled.
Beck darted to the wall and turned back on the lights. It was too late. Rollo confirmed what they all heard. Mr. Tolliver's muffled voice came from behind the door. They looked bewildered at each other. They heard the staccato thump of quick steps exiting the house. The kids looked down in resignation. This isn't how it goes in Hank Atomic. For some reason, they'd always assumed it was up to them to save their town. Luca opened his mouth, hoping to conjure some magical words to make this right. Only a hollow croak escaped. The end. Well, we certainly aren't going to find a grand resolution to our tale locked in a basement.
I'm glad we did the hard cop first, because if I would have done this one and then done hard cop, I would have been like, oh, we're on the right path, and then we would have gotten frozen and it would have been wrong and it would have been extra mad.
Back to the drawing board.
Supposed to be Sly Cop, apparently.
They'd run the classic good cop, sly cop interrogation. Luca and Rollo ducked behind a barrel, leaving Beck to her task. With a few crisp snaps, she roused Mr. Tolliver. Mr. Tolliver looked down and shifted a bit, testing his restraints. Beck caught herself before letting the surprise manifest on her face. She'd already gotten him to reveal his relation to Gran. This was gonna be easy.
Okay. Might be getting somewhere.
Mr. Tolliver wriggled a bit in his restraints. Beck quickly removed the ropes. Mr. Tolliver rubbed the growing knot on his forehead. Beck twirled her hand, as if to prompt Mr. Tolliver to finish her thought. Beck shook her head and clicked her tongue. Mr. Tolliver let out an amused huff in agreement.
Okay.
Beck was on a roll now, playing Mr. Tolliver like a fiddle.
Secret password?
Heading for the stairs, Mr. Tolliver hesitated and turned to Beck with a puzzled look. She grinned and gave him a peppy wave. With a shrug, he continued up the stairs, whistling a jaunty tune.
We did it!
Beck blinked slowly in disappointment.
Frollo has his priorities.
She turned to the table and began tearing small scraps of paper. Beck marked each scrap of paper and leaned back.
Okay. None Creed's drugstore?
Luca and Beck looked at Rollo with amazement.
Oh, he is a bad guy, so if he's there, we're gonna be in trouble. To the drugstore we go.
Gus looked around nervously.
There.
Eris's cry hung in the air.
They were having this conversation and she's still just sitting there reading her book. Oh. Another little cutie. Cutie alert.
Solomon stood proudly at the entrance to the drugstore, holding a brown bag overflowing with black licorice. Solomon shoveled a surprising amount of licorice into his mouth.
Licorice guy.
Beck cupped her hands on the glass to peek inside. Beck flung open the door
Underground
and they all squeezed
secrets.
in.
Wait, the last time we went down here, we died.
Luca cracked his knuckles and entered the letters into the keypad.
Just saying.
The inside of the phone booth dropped loose from its shell. Without even the space to panic, they closed their eyes, held their breath, and accepted their fate. Suddenly, the chaotic descent slowed to an effortless landing. It was unclear where they ended up, but at least it was solid ground. The air was stagnant and smelled vaguely of chlorine.
Eh? Gonna each take our own. Oh, hazmat. Fertilizer warehouse. I haven't been to their office.
Rollo's hands hovered over the field of blinking buttons.
Do you believe it? Yeah, what is coming from the fertile? Oh. Uh-oh. Mr. Nungreed.
Joseph waited for a moment in silence.
Yeah, don't talk about my dad.
He gestured toward the strange tubes.
You were a team until now you're working with the bad people.
Nuncreed let out a growl of a sigh.
So Trevor Valentine is the bad one?
He shook his head wistfully. Nuncreed took a menacing step toward. Luca began to laugh.
Oh, we're exposing Juniper?
The color drained from Nuncreed's face. Nuncreed grabbed Luca by the shoulders. His eyes.
I'm not sure, like, this is the play. Why are we exposing Grant?
A jolt of realization struck Mr. Nuncreed.
I mean, they did attack the source and we did all freeze. And now we're here. I want to go in one of the tubes. This was the mine one.
Chapter 8.
Hey, we've been here before.
Cold, hard truth.
If it goes better.
Beck leapt up, allowing the suction to yank her into the dark. Dimness eclipsed around her like the shutter of a camera as she seemed to cover great distance in mere moments. Her only points of reference were glints of upcoming turns, which approached with frightening speed, only to carom her gracefully along. She heard the tinny, distant echoes of Rollo's glee. Once she stopped fighting against it, the ride was impossibly smooth. Then, all of a sudden, as if minutes had passed in an instant, light blazed into view. A burst of wintry air snuffed across her face, and she was flung out into the cold.
We're in the winter? Because of the sword. Way? Is this just town but frozen town? We're in the frozen version of our town. We'll always go back to the aliens, the zombies.
As they rounded the corner to the frozen town
Ran.
square, they spotted spotted Mr. Nuncreed inching cautiously toward a pit at its center. He held his arms out gingerly, as if approaching a beast in the wild.
Grand, not grand.
Upon closing the distance, Luca recognized what Nuncreed was after. Gran stood confidently at the edge, one arm outstretched over the abyss. Nearby, a wheelbarrow had been emptied out. She held a lit torch, which flickered in the bitter wind. Mr. Nuncreed turned back toward the kids.
We're all gonna freeze.
Desperation in his eyes. Rollo and Beck held steadfast in awe. Luca approached closer. Mr. Nuncreed spun back toward Gran, his voice growing louder. Mr. Nuncreed winced with anguish.
Oh.
His voice hardened. They both now yelled, not to each other, but at fate itself, making their peace with long-held burdens. The wind howled with encouragement. They menaced at each other, both catching their breath. The moment balanced on a knife's edge. Amid a blur of emotions and memories, Luca's mind flooded with questions. The wind calmed, as if to give him the stage.
Okay, we're weeping.
And in the stillness, he began to weep. It was all just too much. Falling to his knees, Luca whimpered softly. The tears crystallized as they hit the snow. Gran stared at Luca for a moment with warm sympathy, remembering why this was all necessary. She stiffened up and brandished the torch at Mr. Nuncreed. Ignoring his final plea, Gran flung the torch.
No. We're gonna freeze again?
She smiled and exhaled in relief. Mr. Nuncreed moaned in resignation. The torch echoed as it ricocheted down the hole, punctuated with a thunderous thud.
Thunderous thud.
Before Gran could finish, the ground shook her to silence.
We're always so
Only
icy.
had time to spin around and run to Luca, her attempt to shield him, an honorable but trifling act. Unflinching love, pitted against an unthinking horror, there was no contest. Her warm embrace froze in an instant. That is where they remain, fixed in place.
We said
forever. And so,
no,
our story
no
ends
torch.
in a town brought low by its secrets. Sits the frozen statues of a misguided band of meddler. The end. Well, that was on the bright side. We finally figured out where all the ice is coming from. Now, we just need to find a way to deal with a mystic, unfathomable force of nature.
Okay, so the only one we have left is this one. When we were surrounded by all the clipboards. Don't even know what chapter we went back to.
Luca drew himself up and decided to take the only option they had left. Flight. He squinted down the barrel of the mission control defense cannon, aiming it through an opening in the dense tree branches. He looked up with surprise as it struck true and taut.
I forgot that we were with Iggy on this one. This is when Iggy still got
And
hit
Iggy
with the
winced as they
ooze, the green
sprinted through the
ooze.
thicket. The branches clawed at them, reluctant to give passage. After what felt like a marathon, Luca stopped in his tracks as they reached the clearing. What the? That was all he was able to say before Iggy slammed into his back. The boys tumbled down a steep decline and crashed with a wheezing thud on a surface as hard as ice. In fact, it was ice. Chapter 5.
Chapter 5 is where we're going back to. We were on chapter 8.
Signs. They stood silently, catching their breath. The sky was like sapphire. With each breath, a plume of steam escaped from Luca's lungs.
I'm already tired. 4:30.
Let's keep moving. Luca pulled Iggy to his feet as they gazed across a snowy terrain.
So this is the same place we were just in.
A disc of smooth metal was lightly covered in snow. Two faint seams were visible along the surface. Luca had almost forgotten the walkie-talkie he was carrying. Luca looked at Iggy with hesitation. With a resigned sigh, Luca responded.
Yeah.
Luca winced, shoving the walkie-talkie
He'd disappear,
back
his
into
mom?
pocket.
This way? This way? Oh, is that not a way? This is a... No. Wait. Can that go anywhere? Right. Stable for now. Those gotta go. What am I gonna do with it? Oh, there's stuff.
The boys stared in disbelief at the sign that now clearly read, "Welcome to Beacon Pines."
Yeah, answers. What was by that I mean her water glass because out of a human water glass.
everything glistened, each chain link encapsulated with a translucent layer of ice.
Fencing. Oh.
Looking down at the frozen stream, Luca could faintly see a school of minnows encased in the ice.
Well, everything is.
The crunching of footsteps trailing Luca went hush.
Oh.
He looked back to see Iggy's face twisted with confusion.
Be up by 3 a.m. and you would be up for the day. Yeah. I mean, the last couple nights I've been like in bed by 7. But I try to fall asleep before 9 because I normally get up at like 5 or earlier every day for work. Iggy is very sad sack, Iggy. Come on, Iggy, let's go.
Luca peered upward at the darkening sky. He let out a long, foggy breath. Faintly, Iggy began to cry. Seeing Iggy in such a pathetic state gave Luca a sense of compassion, and more than a little guilt. Luca allowed himself to collapse next to
So we're gonna
Iggy.
just sit in the cold? That's the bright idea?
The boys huddled together for warmth and comfort. If not for exhaustion, their minds would be racing, trying to make sense of the events of the day. As it was, all they had energy for was to sit in silence, numb.
Of course we didn't know.
Iggy motioned sarcastically to his half-deformed face.
Yeah, Iggy's always a horse's ass.
Iggy shrugged.
Feels empty, so then he decides to bully people.
Iggy now wept openly.
Perfect little life. His dad is dead and his mom went missing.
He wiped his nose with a sleeve. Luca gave a warm chuckle. Iggy cleared his throat as he wiped his eyes. Iggy arched into a wide yawn. Luca's eyelids began to slowly drift shut.
Are we gonna die in our sleep?
That's all Luca could whisper.
Because I don't have any other charms.
Iggy snuggled in some more.
Are we freezing to death in our sleep? Because this was the last option.
Luca was playing with toy blocks on the living room rug. He looked up to see his parents on the couch. His mother held his father's head in her lap. She idly stroked his hair while humming a song. A voice behind Luca spoke. "This is how you remember them, huh?" Luca turned to see his own face. The doppelganger from his dreams, still clad in a yellow hazmat suit, still carrying a look of disdain behind empty eyes. Aww, look at this perfectly cozy scene. The figure picked up a toy block and inspected it. It's amazing the facades that one can build given the right materials. Not that I blame us. These are a child's memories, all warm and fuzzy. You don't remember, do you? Lucas snatched the block from the figure's yellow-gloved hand. Remember what? The doppelganger pointed to the couch. The last day we saw him alive. The day he chose to abandon us. Luca turned to look at his father, still lounging on the couch. That's not true. He didn't abandon us.
Died.
The doppelganger waved his hand dismissively. Everything is true here. It's just a matter of what we choose to see. Let me show you. The world flickered and pulsed. Luca was sitting next to his bed, listening to his heartbeat with one of his dad's stethoscopes. The doppelganger limped into the room. Now, we both know that's not. He grabbed Luca's hand and guided the stethoscope to the floor. Luca heard muffled shouting, brought close by the stethoscope. It was his parents, fighting.
Oh.
Do you remember what we did next? Luca gave a slow nod and crept down the hall to peek through the banister. He could see the outline of his mother at the bottom of the stairs. Damn it, Walt. We can't afford to get involved in this. She was scared. His father stepped forward. What am I supposed to do? Just watch? There's a sickness in this town, and we both know who's behind it. I swore an oath to help people. I won't turn my back on them. Luca's mother grabbed Walt. She was crying, pleading. I can't lose you. Walt calmly removed Eleanor's hand from his shoulder. What's right is right, and what's wrong is wrong. I could never live with myself if I let Sharper get away with this. Eleanor raised her voice. Spare me your bullshit platitudes. What about our son?
Uh-oh.
Luca flinched, dropping the stethoscope down the stairs. Walt turned with a panicked smile. Luca, is that you, buddy?
Where is me, buddy?
With tears in his eyes, Luca descended the stairs. Mom? Dad? What's going on? Walt dropped to a knee to meet Luca eye to eye. Nothing, buckaroo. Your mom and I just got a little overexcited is all. Luca placed the stethoscope against his father's chest. His heart was racing. It sounded like you were going somewhere? Walt gently removed the device from Luca's ears. Listen to me, Luca. I have some business to take care of. I'll be back in time to tuck you in. Luca hugged his father tightly. Promise? Walt stood up and walked to the door. He glanced over his shoulder. I promise.
Oh, that's my cat.
With a wink and a grin, he put on his hat and strode out into the evening sun. A figure approached soundlessly from the foggy snowfall.
Who is that?
Stood above them, lingering in contemplation.
Who that is?
Slowly raising one hand above Iggy, it snapped out 2 brisk raps on his head. From a deep slumber, Iggy sprang up defensively. Whether it was the calming presence or the recognition that he was not in danger, Iggy felt his clenched fists lower. Luca looked up, gradually remembering his whereabouts. The figure exhaled a cloud of warm vapor. When it came to complete strangers, Iggy had trouble cobbling together an insult.
Wow, that was creative. Now,
Iggy huffed with gratification. Nat began to turn away indifferently.
We might need them to get home.
Iggy turned sharply and began to stomp off.
That is really not helpful. Not a fan of the riddles.
Realizing he'd worn their patience thin, Nat relented.
Never the time for metaphors.
Luca and Iggy turned around with hope in their eyes. Nat took a deep breath in. Nat exhaled slowly, then snapped his fingers. For a brief moment, Luca and Iggy let themselves believe that some great magic was about to unfold, until they opened their eyes and found themselves in the exact same place, cold and disheartened.
Tell me. The original Beacon Pine. So our town is a replica. Well, can we make a third town for when this one freezes over? Hey, cat.
Nat narrowed his eyes, furrowed his brow, and uttered. Luca began to laugh uncomfortably. He looked down at his feet. His eyes darted back and forth in contemplation. With a sudden pain,
And this
a thought
is our
struck
town.
him. He sprinted off into the pale distance. As Iggy turned to follow, Nat called out.
Okay.
Chapter 6. The Source. Nat expressed his sympathy with a shrug and sauntered off as unassumingly as he'd arrived. He'd given Luca and Iggy what they needed, and nothing more. As Luca sprinted across the snow, the events of the past few days became clearer, pieces to a larger puzzle. Rollo said he was underground somewhere, captured. Mr. Kerr tried to cover it up with lies. The clipboards were hell-bent on capturing Iggy. It all seemed to point to perennial harvest, but right now, there was one thing that Luca needed to know. Luca stopped dead in his tracks.
And his house be?
The tree was gone.
Oh, it's the...
Uprooted and moved, leaving a raw gash. He dropped to his knees and dug wildly at the cold snow.
But also his house is
His
missing.
numb hands hit something hard. A dry whisper escaped Luca's lips.
His dad?
There was no reply, just snow-covered silence. Iggy finally noticed the tears welling in Luca's eyes and the snow-covered grave. Suddenly, they heard the
Yikes.
crunch of approaching footsteps in the snow.
Uh-oh. Mr. Nun Creek again? Oh, it's hazmat. We saved a whole town of people for what?
He bent down to scoop up a snowball and
I'm a
lobbed
little
it playfully.
confused. I think I might need to chop a little bit of my hair off, or I dye it again.
Luca stuttered through heaving sobs. Iggy gave Luca a solid smack on the back of his head. Luca wiped his eyes with a sleeve.
Are we gonna try to destroy the source and freeze everyone again?
Iggy flashed a mischievous smile and cracked his knuckles.
Are we doing this? Because I still don't have any other charms.
Iggy and Luca
Yeah,
shared
little bit.
skeptical look.
Oh, wait.
Iggy darted behind a large pine and began digging furiously.
What are we looking for?
He emerged holding a shoebox with a crude skull painted on its lid. Luca rolled his eyes with realization. Iggy stifled a chuckle.
It blew up the chicken coop. Okay, but if we blow up the source, isn't this also just gonna freeze everybody?
Iggy triumphantly raised the shoebox.
I mean, I think it would have been easier to move the box. Whoa. Yeah, prepare for a blast off, even though this is probably gonna screw us all over, so. Okay. You need that charm. Can I go up the stairs? Looking for charms, so when we blow it up, we have another option. Don't have any other option.
Luca and Iggy inched up to the edge of the hole with bewilderment in their eyes. Arctic air breathed out of the cavern in heaving gusts.
How do we smash a hole?
Mr. Kerr gazed down the abyss in contemplation. Kerr scratched the back of his head.
Who's in charge?
His face contorted into a saccharine grin.
An ad starting in 30 seconds.
Kerr snapped his fingers.
Uh-oh. Clipboards. Hey, the middle one doesn't even have a clipboard.
Iggy turned to Luca with a sly glance. Iggy waved the box into the air, threatening to drop it down the
It
hole.
frees us all.
Iggy plucked a single bottle rocket from the box and held it up with reverence. After a long pause, Mr. Kerr flung up his hand with frustration.
Okay, okay.
Mr. Kerr sighed into the frigid air.
Iggy's still gonna throw one in anyways, though?
With a nonchalant flick,
Yeah.
Iggy tossed the firework into the hole.
Gonna freeze again.
With a growl, Kerr leapt at Iggy, crashing through Luca. Iggy tried to twist away, but in the struggle they both tumbled over the side. Luca dove forward, bracing Iggy's hand just before it slipped. His grip was made precarious by the cold, wet snow. He could see Kerr further down, clinging to Iggy's coat.
You're always listening. Best viewers. I already have the best viewers. What?
Mr. Kerr gasped with insult. With a wild look in his eye, Mr. Kerr began to hum a proud melody.
Okay, but I don't want Iggy to die. Okay, we got another charm
His
though.
hand began to cramp. His voice began to crack. Luca felt Iggy loosen his grasp. Every muscle in Luca's body burned. Luca felt his hand slipping.
He is a bully.
A calm settled over Iggy's face. Iggy's voice was colder than the bitter air billowing from the chasm.
Oh, I actually like Iggy. We accept? No, really want to, but like, do we let him? He's a little guy. Or like, do we refuse and then like, I'll get taken? I mean, either one I choose is probably gonna be wrong, right? I'll just have to redo it. We accept it and then regret it.
Luca had no choice but to accept Iggy's request. With a quiet blink, Luca watched a teardrop sail down into the howling void. As his fingers slowly gave up, he met eyes with Iggy.
Yeah.
The two silhouettes were swallowed by darkness.
Oh, well, we still died. So I didn't think about it that he had all the fireworks on. So do I need to go back and deny it? How is that contained but throwing a torch in there? The gunk makes things cold and the fireworks make the whole freeze over.
We have some idea what that would look like.
We would all freeze.
A fierce twinkle flashed in Nat's eyes.
Like that. Think of Anhole. We're gonna save the world, whatever, Nat.
With a chuckle,
Whatever,
turned and
Nat.
walked west. Dumbfounded, Luca followed behind him, trudging through the snow. Every step taking him further away from everyone and everything he knew, and closer to destiny. To be continued in Beacon Pines, Pines Harder. Revenge served cold. Second time's a charm?
Huh?
Wait, that's it? This ends with a crummy cliffhanger just when it was getting good? I was even starting to like Iggy. No way. I refuse to be associated with some never-ending parade of sequels. Let's go back and find something more definitive.
Okay, so we were given... So we can either hum... I mean, if we refuse, let's just refuse, right? We're already here.
Luca had no choice but to refuse Iggy's request. He tightened his grip and reached for the walkie-talkie in his pocket. A wild delight crept onto Mr. Kerr's face. That's a good lad. Now, radio for help. Iggy begged Luca with his eyes one last time, but Luca pressed the button.
We'll see if this works.
We need help.
Otherwise, we'll go
Mr.
back.
Kerr is in danger. It wasn't long before they were once again surrounded by clipboards. Mr. Kerr sighed with relieved frustration. There you are. You really are a worthless lot, aren't you? Mirror, now. A clipboard dutifully produced an ornate ivory hand mirror, and Mr. Kerr began preening his tousled hair. Ah, that's
Really?
better. Mr. Van Horn, I applaud your sharp thinking under duress. I'll put in a good word for you with the founder. Take them away. A swarm of hands overpowered Luca. The last thing he saw before a cloth bag was pulled over his head was the defeated look on Iggy's face. The end. I think this was...
Oh, so we're supposed to accept. So we did it right because it blocked it, but like we just come
And
with
in the
Gran, are we gonna do the
stillness,
same thing?
he began to hum. After the death of his father, Luca had trouble sleeping. Each night, his mother would sit at the foot of his bed and hum a gentle melody. It was the only thing that could calm his mind. The only thing that, however briefly, could make it all seem okay. That melody pervaded every memory Luca had of his mother. Shivering in the raw snow, he began to hum it out loud. Gran lowered the torch, listening closely. As recognition slowly set in, her heart sank. Those countless nights of consolation, the incomparable loss they shared together. She let the torch fall to the snow and sizzle out.
Okay.
A few steps toward Luca was all she could bear before dropping to the snow herself. Through a flood of tears, she began to hum along, note for note. Luca lifted his head.
I was like,
in
are we just humming
astonishment.
forever?
The last time he heard that melody was the last night he saw his mother.
That's his mom? His Gran was dead. We found that out in one of the
Luca
town
blinked
history
through
books.
blurry, watery eyes, trying to see more clearly. He could just make out the impression of a familiar. He peered across the snowscape at the woman on her knees. Something about her was undeniably his mother. Only smaller, older, changed. Luca sprinted as fast as he could toward his mother. They held each other close, and the cold retreated from their bodies. Eleanor looked down at Luca, tightening her embrace in an appeal for forgiveness.
I mean, what are we gonna be like? Hey, I stepped in toxic ooze and now I'm 50 years older than I was.
Joseph slumped into the cold, wet snow. For the first time in a long time, her voice felt like her own again. Luca gazed down at Nuncreed with pity. He looked small. Joseph stared into the snow as if searching it for answers.
I'm glad we ended last night though, because I would not have stayed up to finish this. I mean, I think we're really towards the end now, but we've already been streaming like almost an hour and a half. Shut
Chapter
up,
9.
Joseph.
The Devil You Know. 7 months ago, Eleanor Van Horn crept down the maze of sterile hallways under Perennial Harvest. She stopped in front of the large steel door marked Deep Engineering. No turning back now. She raised a trembling hand. The stolen keycard worked as promised, and the door buzzed open with mechanical efficiency. She was immediately hit with the smell of disinfectant. It was some sort of laboratory. In one corner was a desk covered in papers. Across the room stood a tall metal pod with hoses protruding from its base. She rushed to the desk and began shifting through the piles of paper. They were experiment reports on something called Tempus liquamen. There were dozens of them. Every one stamped failed. Eleanor heard the sharp echo of footsteps approaching. She was out of time. Her eyes scanned the room, eventually landing on the strange pod. Muttering a curse under her breath, she dashed over and dove inside.
Okay. Back to real life.
Mr. Kerr addressed the crowd with a sarcastic tone.
I mean, that does mean that they did it in like a couple days.
Whispers filtered through the crowd.
Ooh. Oh? Mr. Nuncreed is gonna help? Wait, him too?
Torment dragged on Joseph Nuncreed's face.
I liked him, he was cute! Is this whatever? The old man? Did he like go down to child and then she went to old?
He paused for a moment, plucking a piece of fuzz from his sweater and discarding it to the ground.
What's his name? Something with an S.
Kerr gave a bow of deference. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Solomon pulled a glass vial from his pocket. In one smooth motion, he downed its contents. A triumphant smile grew across Solomon's lips. His body and face began to contort and expand as he disappeared into a belching green mist. A hushed horror gripped the crowd. This is a story about change. Sharper examined his new hands.
I don't like his voice either. Him and Jeff. We threw a festival for ourselves.
Sharper choked out a crude squawk of a laugh. Frustrated grumbles sprinkled through the crowd. William Kerr gave a subtle nod to the clipboards. A helpless quiet settled over the crowd.
Joseph, you little rat.
Sharper addressed the
Love
crowd
Don.
with indignant pride. He'd planned this moment for so long that now, at the deed's fruition, it almost felt frivolous. Mr. Kerr flourished a preposterously elaborate bow.
Hey, you little turd. What if they all step out of line? You know, I think I just liked the ending where we froze over the hole and then, you know, we're like, let's just deal with it.
Sharper coughed up one final laugh and cracked his knuckles. And so, Sharper set about remaking the town in his own image. The fertilizer factory soon reopened for business. Sales rose steadily as more and more farmers across the countryside began to swear by its miraculous properties. Beacon Pines became famous, a secretive town
This is the end?
for the right price, shared its gifts with all. Gifts that became more and more necessary in a world where winters grew longer and longer.
We just got... I don't think so, because we just got another charm, so I think it's gonna stay.
End.
Oh.
This is wrong,
Yeah.
but things are becoming clearer now.
We didn't make it.
You can feel it, right? We can't let Sharper win. He might just be the key to this whole thing. Let's see.
Okay. Where is our option? I don't remember what this one even was. Oh, when we... This is the first time when he threw me in the phone booth.
Like a trap ready to spring. Luca felt the weight of Nuncreed's hand on his shoulder. Something wasn't right. He didn't know why, but something was telling Luca to get out of there. Luca twisted free of Nuncreed's grasp.
You little rat. Run away, Luca. Okay, but now I'm back like 6 rounds and I think. We're gonna avoid that little guy now that we know what he is. Ellie. Not talking to Jeff. I'm actually meeting Rolo at the tree. Wait, do I have better fishing bait for my dad? We still just have shoot.
Luca wrapped a twig of thyme around the hook. Some fish have refined taste.
Can we actually get like a fish or something besides a boot? Is that all I was looking? Really like
Luca tied a bent nail. If all
struggle
you
is
have is a hammer.
I'm just gonna use all of them, I guess. It's not bad. Pulling it before the and found any. The picture. Hey, Joseph. All right, what else we got?
Luca gently baited a feather onto the hook. Good for skimming the surface.
Okay. A rubber duck. Oh, it's my rubber ducky. And
Luca placed a sinker on the line. Sometimes the best stuff is at the bottom of the pond.
little bit. That's everything, right? Go back.
Luca tied a bent. If all you have.
Don't want to. I interact with these things. Oops.
He aired a long holler into the woods. Luca felt his eyes getting heavy.
Is Rolo
and plopped into the beanbag.
kidnapped in this timeline?
He conceded to its lumpy embrace.
Oh, right? Wait, maybe he is. He is kidnapped in this time.
Once again, Luca found himself in a vast black expanse. This time, he knew exactly where to go. He took a single confident step forward. The world flickered and pulsed. He found himself standing in front of the frigid air of a blazing campfire, the source. He plopped down cross-legged and gazed into the cold flame. Soon enough, the fire began to die out, popping sporadically, until all that was left was a single ember. Luca stood up and dusted himself off. He plucked the glowing ember from the cold ash, examined it, and slid it into his pocket, a keepsake. The voice of his father spoke behind him. "You made me proud, Buckaroo." Luca turned to face him. "Dad, what is this place?" A warm grin grew across his father's face. "A place where everything that has been and everything that could be." Luca found himself staring at his father's face, trying as hard as... "Wait?" Another voice spoke out as Luca's doppelganger stepped forward. "That's up to you." Without knowing why, Luca began to weep. Is any of this real? Are you real?" Luca's father bent down to smudge away a tear. "Of course. I'm as real as the part of you that misses me." Luca turned to look at the older version of himself. "And you?" The doppelganger choked back tears. "I'm as real as the part of you that's angry. Does that make sense?" Through his tears, Luca laughed. "I think so."
Does that make sense?
His father pulled him in for an embrace. "Time to go, Buckaroo." Luca was startled from his dream by a banging on the floor. A commanding voice rumbled from below.
I'm in trouble again.
Just as Luca sprang to lock the entry hatch, the door knocked open. Chapter 5. Dangers big and small. Luca stumbled back. He heard the rope ladder creak under significant weight.
Uh-oh.
Keeping his eyes fixed on the hatch, he inched backward to the balcony. As his hand grasped the door handle, Luca froze. A large figure clumsily wriggled up through the hole.
Bran? Oh.
The
Rolo?
large figure cocked its head inquisitively. Luca's jaw. He peered more closely at the man standing in front of him. Something about him was undeniably Rolo, only bigger.
It's big.
changed.
Smells like a swimming pool.
Rolo proudly presented his hands to Luca.
Not just your hands there, buddy.
Luca moved to the side and pointed Rolo to his reflection in the balcony window. His hands shot up to his face.
Gonna fix it. It's awesome. Now he's a big kid.
Rolo shadowboxed a few jabs. With a yelp, Rolo dove behind Luca.
He also got green goo in this one.
She shot a nervous glance at Rolo. Beck's eyes narrowed.
I was gonna say, I'm assuming so, because now she has blue hair. Okay. It turned gray, right? And she's old.
Ilona tried to put on a smile.
Okay, Beck.
She sighed, and after a moment, looked down at Beck sympathetically.
I mean, her hair's just blue. It's not that bad.
She flashed a sly grin and tousled Beck's hair.
Okay. Okay, we're not hurting Nelly here. Buckaroos?
Luca gave Rolo a
Yeah,
quick elbow
her
to the
mom.
ribs.
For banana. I need to see if my bananas are brown.
flicked a large sheet of paper out of her pocket and slammed it on the floor. Rollo started to wiggle with excitement.
Hi, singing.
Chapter 6.
Oh my gosh, we went all the way back to chapter 5 again.
The heist. They spent the night's end huddled around that small map, formulating a plan to infiltrate the headquarters of Perennial Harvest. It would be no small feat. A modern facility equipped with all manner of technology, not to mention the swarm of clipboards that would most certainly be scattered throughout. By the time the sun began to peek through the car window used as a makeshift balcony door, all were in agreement. This could just work. The final day before the festival would be used to prepare. They'd need to pool every resource at their disposal, pull every favor with a thread, even enlist some unsavory characters around town with important tasks only they were suited for. Luckily, there was enough ill will and mistrust toward Perennial Harvest that alliances could be found at a bargain. Luca, Beck, and Rollo rubbed their eyes as they exited the treehouse. They hadn't slept
Can't believe
at
we're
all
back to
that
chapter
night.
6.
The festival was to begin in one day, and they each had their assignment. He waved vaguely at Rollo's sizable figure. Beck snorted an involuntary giggle. They each looked at each other with sleepy confidence and nodded.
I have to talk to Jeff. Jeff, the person that I cannot stand the noises that he makes. Jeff is my least favorite noise that happens in this game. Wait, are we going to sleep? Oh, Jeff's over here. I hate it.
Jeff wheezed out a long snicker.
Help us break in, Jeff.
The joy in Jeff's face drained instantly. Looking into the sullen eyes.
I mean,
of
you
his
already
would-be
lost your
accomplice,
shop.
Luca blurted out the first word that came to mind.
Drunk?
Luca wasn't right. He shouted out
Shit? Crooked? What is the answer here? He's hiding?
Jeff's brow perked up. Sensing some traction, Luca carried on with vigor. Jeff's scowl faded with a sigh. One good stomp of the foot was all Jeff needed to drive his point home.
Five bags of sour gobs.
Luca offered out his open hand to seal the deal. With a firm and dusty grip, Jeff reciprocated.
Okay. There's our little Iggy and I always forget. Oh. Fish. Look, Iggy's normal again in this timeline.
Iggy raised an eyebrow suspiciously. Iggy gave a reluctant shrug. Iggy considered the point.
Uh-oh.
A wild-eyed grin spread across Iggy's face. Iggy glanced over to Tish, who nodded in agreement.
Yeah, they do.
With a quick nod, Luca was off.
Alright, so I did that one much better.
Iggy gazed up at Tish with a smile. A single tear ran down Tish's cheek.
Aw. They're so cute.
Chapter 7. Into the Hive. A good heist requires preparation, and thorough preparation takes time. Something they had precious. So far, everything was in order. Jeff, Iggy, and Tish all agreed to do their part. Beck radioed Luca that night with a simple and covert message. "We're locked and loaded on my end." And Rollo, after a lengthy confession, managed to persuade Roxy and Fitz to help. He stowed away in mission control for the night to avoid attracting attention. Rollo, being uniquely suited for the role,
Because now
would
he's
be the
old.
first to breach Perennial Harvest. The outfit provided by Jeff wasn't perfect, but a convincing disguise is 10% wardrobe, 90% confidence.
Ew.
Rollo took a few
Is it
vigorous
mustache?
breaths and shook out his arms.
That's his disguise. Oh, good old handyman.
He had to think quick. Rollo sighed, adjusting his tool belt.
Okay, it worked.
With a stroke of his mustache, Rollo proceeded into the Perennial Harvest head.
Harvest awaits. Touch.
He stammered and flipped through the pages of his clipboard. Rollo interrupted with urgency in his voice. Rollo panicked.
Our harvest awaits. Ew. Fireworks.
The distraction was enough for Rollo to regain his confidence. The clipboard fumbled around in a frenzy.
Yeah, get in there, Rollo. Oh, they're in the crate. Okay. But it was east. Oh. Gonna be a maze. Uh-oh.
Solomon stopped in his tracks.
Uh-oh.
A veneer of confusion flashed across Solomon's face. His words rushed out dramatically.
Dang it, are we gonna get caught now?
Solomon's facade briefly faltered. Luca happened to notice a plaque above the door.
Well, you know, I did my job.
Luca tried the handle. Solomon leaned forward to examine the mechanism. Luca smiled and looked at his watch.
So, this is bad, right? Seems bad.
She mimed a quick hat tip and ambled off with a whistle.
Nice. Love Beck's mom.
The light on the keypad changed from red to green.
He came from there.
Luca switched on his walkie-talkie. On the computer screen, a green cursor blinked in a password field. Luca pecked out his best guess: underground secrets. The screen
worked.
blinked to life.
Yeah.
Columns of green numbers glowed on a black background.
Stupid founder. Punch him, Luca.
Solomon's jaw clenched into a
Solomon?
half smile. Luca quickly scanned the columns for number 24601. Once again, Luca scrutinized the numbers on the screen. In that moment
Solomon
of
not gonna
distraction,
stop us?
Solomon reached
Oh,
forward
yeah.
and pressed a large red button.
Sabotage.
He quickly skimmed the screen with his finger.
No, he wasn't.
Mr. Kerr
Uh-oh.
approached with a sneer and spoke into his walkie-talkie. With self-satisfaction, he called into the hallway.
Nice. Yeah, Mr. Founder.
Nellie leaned over to examine his teeth.
Yeah, I drank it. So we basically were using the green goo to grow plants. And then it froze everything, so we moved the whole town. And then we're just doing it again.
Nellie sighed.
Yeah, he's deaders. Oh. Yeah, Mr. Founder.
Solomon muttered inaudibly.
Yeah, he is. He's the founder.
Luca tugged on each of the cabinets.
Let me at his desk.
Luca held his hand up to the ash.
Right there. Kick him.
With a subtle, quivering lip. Solomon once again muttered under his breath. They heard the trampling of frantic footsteps from the
Our
hallway.
friends. Friends and mother. Uh-oh. The boards? Oh, he's gonna just let them in.
Her eyes searched the floor.
Don't tell me I'm
in
gonna have to
thought.
start over again.
Solomon watched eagerly, waiting for the flicker of epiphany. With a sickened look, she peered into his soul. Solomon clapped with genuine delight. Solomon glanced down, examining his youthful form. Kerr presented it with a theatrical twirl.
Oh, so we're just gonna become an adult here instead of at the festival?
Before he could finish, Rollo snatched the vial.
Yeah, drink it, Rollo, drink it.
Rollo casually tossed the vial to Luca. Luca jiggled the vial mockingly. She held it tightly behind her back. Solomon
Why didn't he just
sighed,
drink it?
speaking.
Oh wait, it's going the up way and not the down way.
He pursed his lips with feigned sincerity. A deep uncertainty washed over Beck. She looked to Nellie shakily. With a dispirited nod, Nellie sighed in defeat. Beck slowly approached Solomon. With apprehension, Beck conceded.
Don't like this.
Solomon pocketed the vial and brushed off his shoulder with a
There's an
sharp
ad
flick.
starting in 30 seconds.
The blood drained from Kerr's face.
Yeah, we didn't help you.
Solomon shook his head with gratification. A muffled applause resonated faintly through the walls.
Surely we're not gonna lose again, right? I don't know if I have it in me to like restart at another node. Like, this is a good game, but the fact that I go from like chapter 8 and then start back at like chapter 4 is kind of annoying a little bit.
Nellie was staring at the floor, deep in thought.
I say, is it Nelly? Because okay, Nelly, what you got? Who? Luca? Oh.
The color dropped from Luca's face.
Wait, because he doesn't know that Grandin is his mom in this timeline.
Luca was overwhelmed. A sudden explosion sounded from the hull.
Oh, well, that was Gran blowing up the thing.
Chapter
probably,
8,
right?
Comeuppance. Ears still ringing, Gran picked herself up off the ground. Through the dust and smoke, she looked over to see Mrs. Fratelli helping Hiram Tolliver to his feet. She'd had to beg, borrow, and steal to acquire those explosives. How many nights had she spent visualizing how she'd use them to make things right? And now, her one shot at destroying the source, that damned hole that swallowed so much of her life, was gone. Traded for this jagged hole in a wall and a foolhardy shot at rescuing
Good,
Rollo.
otherwise you would have froze the whole land again.
With Fratelli and Tolliver at her side, she stepped through. It was a strange feeling. The last time she'd stalked this maze of hallways, it was in a different body. They quickly rounded a corner to find a group of clipboards guarding a door. Something worth guarding is probably something worth seeing. She leapt forward, brandishing her cane. If her last chance at vengeance for things lost was truly gone, she would just have to fight to keep what she still had.
Gran? Eh. Alright, so
They
we
made their way
finally
out
gonna
from
stop
deep
him
within
this time?
Perennial Harvest, just as Solomon finished up his speech.
We think we did it this time?
Solomon pulled a glass vial from his pocket. In one smooth motion, he downed its contents. A triumphant smile grew across
Oh, did Beck do something
With
to
a
the
mischievous
bottle?
look, Beck elbowed Luke. Remember when I had the vial behind my back?
And it tweaked his wonder potion with a little chain?
I might have tweaked his wonder potion with a little change. His body and face began to contort and expand as he disappeared into a belching green mist.
Yeah, baby? Oh, he's even cuter now.
Eris awkwardly cradled the squirming child. She looked to her brother, her voice shaking with uncertainty. She looked back down at the infant with equal parts kindness and terror in her eyes. With a shake of her head, Eris addressed the crowd with a stern scowl.
Okay, but like, what about everything
Epilogue.
else?
Beacon Pines'
Wait,
coldest
did we finally
summer
do
on
it?
record came and went without much fanfare. Folks shared what they had, and none were left wanting. The new school year was ushered in by the falling leaves of autumn. After everything Luca, Rollo, and Beck had been through, middle school was bearable. The chill of winter didn't seem to bother people much. They kindled a hope for a better future in their hearts. When spring arrived, farmers planted their crops with a sense of joy and optimism. And as the dawn of the first day of summer came again, its light slowly spread through the shallow valley. It crept over the town square, across the river, past the neglected welcome sign, and came to rest on a young boy sleeping at dawn, his mind at peace, knowing he is here for a reason.
Are we close? We starting over. Oh, wait, there's no trees. Huh? Oh, that's so nice, Roxy. Well, that's why she's planting trees, because she works in their plant shopping. I'll talk to Gus because Daryl's favorite.
When Perennial Harvest collapsed, most of the clipboards skipped town, but some stuck around and dedicated themselves to making things right.
Okay, hello, Gus. Let's go talk to the moms, and we'll go to the. Slow and Dirty Harvest. Okay. Slow and Dirty Harvest. This is not going well. Oh, my kitty's doing big stretches. I say, where are we going? Right? No. I don't really want to hear about bugs again, if I'm gonna be honest. You check in with the little baby?
Eris did her best to ignore the tears welling in her eyes.
Huh? I'm not talking to him. Don't make me. Don't like him. I'll talk to the little bunnies, though. Oh, I can't talk to the little bunny.
With perennial harvest gone, the transportation tubes were left unused. Well, maybe not completely.
Nice. Bug Boy is back again? Oh wait, was the other one not Bug Boy? Hey! Oh, is it? Oh. Oh. Go plant the tree for his dad. When I'm ready, does that mean so I can like talk to other people? I don't care about anybody. Should have went and saw Dawn. Well, I don't want to walk all the way over there. Right.
I think this is it. The end I've been waiting for. Honestly, I'd begun to lose hope of ever finding it. But then you came along. I don't know exactly how to thank you. It's hard to explain how much this means to me. It's funny, now that our time together is finally ending. I'm at a loss for words. Let's just watch the end together.
Better than a fiddle is a cello? Yeah, we're a trio. Aw. Just laying on top of our dad's gravestone. Did we finally do it? This is it? The book is closed. What if I open it again? Do we start over? Oh, we blow out the candle.